Thaba Nchu, big sky country and a magnificent backdrop for this last event of the season. As usual, pre-race paddock activity was high, with competitors attending to those last-minute details which could make or break their race for them. With championship points in some categories depending on this last event, nothing could be left to chance. Machines were checked and rechecked a dozen times. As was usual with off-road racing, everyone pitched in to help and assist drivers and riders before the race. Among the 200s, Richard Manning has dominated this season, with his fine overall win in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race contributing to his healthy position. However, Chris Dodd wasn't that far behind him and still stood a chance of beating Manning.
I'm only really worried that Richard does have, because he dropped one race over the whole year, so with the dropping some points, if he finishes in with the points, then he'll take the championships. If he doesn't finish, I've got to actually win, so there's a chance.
But Winston Yamaha rider Manning didn't intend throwing this race away and was in fine form during Friday's speed trial. Chasing Manning was Alex Vowles Jr. on the Antilex Dairy Kawasaki.
I've just won the Enduro Championship last weekend in Elands Valley, and I think my chances are pretty good of doing well here, so hopefully I can make it a double.
Steve Parker and VZ Van Zyl led their class throughout the year, and with the championship in the bag, the pair didn't need to pitch for this event. Derek Pinoy and Antoine Mering did well at the Roof of Africa in their Class 2 Beetle, and sharing the driving now expected another good result.
We got a very good chance to win in Class 2, and even category we don't have any problems with the car. We're as competitive as anything in our category. The American cars are a little bit quicker in the rough, but we're not too worried about it.
Wilfried Verslau and Dagmar Blankner haven't done as well as expected this year, but nevertheless they gave it all they had for this final race. Jeremy Davies had a bad start to the season when he injured his knee, but a good finish at the Roof and a win at the Mabatu Sun 500 boosted his points, and the championship was his if he finished this event. Anthony Taylor on the Vibro Bricks Suzuki had a bad fall during the speed trial, but kept on going.
Yeah, I hit a sheep about 15 k's, 20 k's into the second section. I went down quite hard, and I've tweaked my wrist thing, so I don't know what's open twice for tomorrow. It's a bit sore at the moment.
Team Green Kawasaki rider Jannie de Bruin led the class all year before the return of Davies, and now in third place was taking it easy.
Die hoofdoel is om klaar te maak. Ek moet goed klaar maak om punte te kry, so dis die hoofdoel. Fietsen probeer spaar en klaar te maak, maar ja, gaan voluit daarvoor.
On his Truck Africa KTM, Davies, South Africa's only total Paris Le Cup rally entrant, displays his superb riding style, despite a slight miscalculation.
I must finish today, but it's also a problem to finish sometimes. When you go there to finish, it's more difficult than winning, but I'm here to do well, and I'll do my best.
In the commercial vehicle category, Alfred van Vuren and Piet Pelser have had no opposition this year, the Toyota Hilux featuring well at every event. Among the Class 6 buckies, Philip Milan and Richard Leek in their Toyota Hilux were out to beat the competitors Rainer Meintjes and Renier Jooster, the latter driving a Nissan Safari.
Soos dat dit die einde van die jaar is, voel ek moet ons net klaarmaak en ons gaan so dit aanpak en ek is oortuig hierdie wedren gaan ons goed doen want ons is regtig baie rustig.
Despite their fast pace, the Nissan team was worried about the muddy conditions.
Nee, ons het gehoor maar by die ouens en ons sien dit baie nat. So ons is maar bang vir die water. Maar ons gaan maar kyk wat gebeur vorentoe.
Mud held no terrors for the Free State team of Van Vuren and Pelser in their Sasol Toyota Hilux, who were on home turf in this spectacular part of the world.
Ek gaan maar kalm ry. Ek laat ek net klaar maak, soos jy sê, ek weet al wat ek nodig het, ek moet klaar maak om my punte te hê, om al die titels te vat en niemand my kan vang nie. So ek gaan op my tyd ry en mooi ry, dat ek net probeer dat ek seker is ek maak klaar.
Back among the 500cc motorcycles, the championship hadn't yet been won, and despite Kevin Tebbett's lead, a non-finish could have dashed his hopes. For Castrol Barberspun 500 winner Cocky Bainham, it was to be his last ride under the Pro Honda banner.
Kevin is 2 punte voor my, so die 500 klas is helemaal oop. Kevin Tappert train 6 punte, want hy moet nog 1 race drop, so hy is 6 punte voor my. So enigiets kan gebeur. Gaan 'n harde race wees, ek meen, enige een van ons 3 kan wen. Gaan maar alles gee, ek hoop ek wen.
Bad luck befell Kevin Fisher, who, although second in the championships, retired on Friday's stretch, blowing his chances completely.
I had to catch Tibbet and beat him this race to win the championship. Unfortunately, my big end on my bike put a hole in my casing, and it put me out of the race. That's it, my whole year championship drive.
Showing his speedway experience here was the ever-popular Kevin Tibbet, making this off-road business look so easy.
I will try and go win the championship, do well. I'm looking forward to it. I like this kind of country. I believe we're going on the mountains. I like that. I'm sure I'll do well.
Bucks Carolyn and Kenny Skolthammer had their Special Vehicles Championship sewn up neatly, and their Porsche-powered Castrol Raceco was ready to make mincemeat of the other competitors. Greg Weeble and Warren Clarkson have shown incredible form in their debut season with a second overall at the roof, proving they've got what it takes. Raising some dust in their wake were Richard Schilling and Robbie Walk in the Motortech Raceco, who in turn were being chased by Klaus Degener and Robin Yates in the very muddy Duckham's Chenoweth.
I'm just going to go and do it in the roof. We're going to drive hard. I think Warren's going to navigate as well as he did in the roof, and I think that gave us a big opportunity in the roof because we never really long slotted, and that's how we're going to do it today. We're going to stick with the front runners and see what we can do on tomorrow. Tomorrow we race.
Some raced and some had bad luck. Class 9 driver Fast Fred Levesque had problems when his Motortech Chenoweth hit a hole and he lost a wheel. Although off-road drivers can normally make a plan, Levesque was eventually forced to concede defeat for the day and limp home on 3 wheels. Despite all this, he was back on the start line on Saturday morning on 4 wheels. Back among the Class 8 space frames, and Carolyn and Skolthammer were purring along nicely in their raceco, despite earlier problems with ignition boxes.
Basically, I just have to finish to win the championship. It will be my 3rd championship in a row, and that equals Des Tarberton's record, and Des was always a man that I admired, and it's good enough for me.
Saturday morning's start was a 7 o'clock one, with Richard Schilling and Rob Walk leading the pack.
I believe that the second loop is really where it's quite tough. So I believe that's where the race will be sorted out. The last portion is very fast and there's not too much skill in that area. So the second loop is where the race will happen.
This is all part of the new image I'm going to portray from it now on. I've been responsible for a lot of the degradation of this sport, and I feel myself now responsible to provide a little bit of upliftment. It's time we had a better class of character in this off-road racing. This muddy mechanic image has to disappear in the future.
And away they go, with the first 6 cars being space frames. Highest placed single-seater among the top 8 was Natal's Roger Westermeyer in the Eskimo Refrigeration Orco in 4th position. Leading the Class 2s in their VW Beetle were Derek Pinoy and Antoine Mering, with our Bucky Brigade and the badly smoking Toyota Hilux of Cassie Coetzee and Wiley Harrington behind them. 10th off the start line and a couple of seconds behind Coetzee and Harrington were husband and wife team Arnold and Estelle Mathieu in the Mayerton Toyota Raceco.
No, we just started, and as we go to second gear, there was a hell of a noise in the engine, and we couldn't find what is the problem, and I smell smoke, and then next thing it's electrical fault, a hole in the block.
Despite Schilling and Walk having led at the start, a puncture and then a broken side shaft retired their Motortech Raceco from the race, and saw Springboks Bucks Carolyn and Kenny Skolthammer soon pulling into the lead, the Castrol Raceco powering effortlessly through the dust. Klaus Degener and Robin Yates had started second, but a wrong slot here lost their Duckham's Chenoweth a few precious seconds. Degener has a reputation for foot-flat driving, and there was no doubt he'd make up the time easily. Besides, there's nothing he enjoys more than a top-speed dice with rival Carolyn. Leading Class 9 and third overall was Roger Westermeyer in the Eskimo Refrigeration Orco. Older vehicles like his suffer more punishment at these speeds than do the imported cars. The drivers always hope and pray their cars will last the race distance. For a change, the off-road gods were smiling on Philip Ballon and Richard Leak, whose powerful but not always reliable turbocharged Toyota Hilux had moved up to fourth overall and first in Class 6. Making a welcome return to racing were Jack Spencer and Vic Camper in the powerful Rover V8-powered Sandmaster, leading the newly introduced Class 8A. This class differs from the other Class 8s in that it incorporates only the older space frames as opposed to the newer high-tech American imports. The idea is to even out the chances among the Class 8 entries, usually the most competitive class in off-road racing. And doing his bit to prove that old needn't necessarily mean slow was Derek Pinoy along with Antoine Mering in the Class 2 Beetle. The two were way ahead of their rivals and lying in a very healthy 6th place overall. Class 5 leaders were Alfred van Veeren and Pierre Pelser, who've reigned supreme in this class throughout the season. Their Toyota Hilux was lying 9th overall, and with the commercial vehicle category already theirs, finishing this event was merely a formality for them. Also class leaders, but this time of Class 3, were Theo Kutser and Ian Wedderburn in their Chevy 510, who are lying 15th overall. Right behind them, Stratford Voigt and Guido de Greef led the charge in the Class 4. Their powerful American Toyota Hilux sounding very strong as they blasted their way through the dusty field. The Gilo Engineering Bucky was making steady progress along the route, having moved from 23rd to 16th position. More class leaders, this time in the form of the PC Warehouse Class 10 Orco, driven by Ferdy Petersen and navigated by Martin van Eerden, who was successfully keeping the opposition at bay. Meanwhile, at the motorcycle start, Alfie Cox was ready to race in his third national event since his recent return from the USA.
Yesterday was very, very fast, and today we believe it's going to be a little bit tighter as we get further out, but coming home again is going to be very fast again.